When you physically open a dictionary and look up the word conditioning, you get a few definitions, but the ones we're going with today are to make fit and train to adopt certain habits. Now, usually when you hear the word train, you don't think people, you usually think dog. But hey, opinions change. But that's pretty much what the conditioning in Brave New World is. Conditioning happens in one of two ways, usually. The first is keeping your subject happy. That means giving them food, drugs, sex, anything to keep them happy and satisfied. And the second method is, well, fear. Now, there are two methods by which the people of World State are conditioned, and that is through physical and mental means. As we know from reading the book, if y'all, read the book, is that most of the mental training gets done in childhood. They're told phrases in their sleep, encouraged to partake in erotic play, they have positive experiences close to people who are dead and dying, so that not only do they not fear death, but they see it positively. From the moment these children are sentient enough, they are conditioned to seek out others to engage with and for the relief of instant gratification. And really, much of their lives are consumed with how they can feel good. And what are two things that are known for making people feel good really fast? Sex and drugs. Really, the two biggest things that go into the conditioning of the citizens of World State is sex and drugs, two very big physical aids. And really, when you look at it from a psychological perspective, it's really quite genius. Like, you train them from childhood to only want one thing, and then you give it to them in excess. They don't know that they want anything else. And even if they were dissatisfied, society has a safeguard built in, and that is the common fear of standing out in all of the wrong ways. It's just pure evolution. I mean, look at zebras, man. Stripes. Gotta blend in so predators don't come after you. Just want to keep pretending that you're a healthy little zebra for as long as you can, because that's how you gotta stay alive. If they smell weakness or difference, you're meat. That's the only thing they serve in the restaurant of life. This is perhaps one of the key factors that makes John so different from everyone. In the life he knew, there wasn't this artificial and purely physical happiness, and the people he was around, he didn't want to fit in. He hated Pope, he was abused by all those on the reservation, so really, why would he want to be one of them? Lenina, however, proves to be the exact opposite. The product of her conditioning, she doesn't question, and she seeks so often to fit in, it seems impossible that she could have felt anything real for John because she doesn't know what anything real is. It's like Romeo and Juliet all over again, only this time with more self-flagellation and birth control. But the conditioning that they go through really isn't all bad when you think about it. They're trying to be more efficient, they're trying to rid us of the emotional and physical pain that we seem to go through day in and day out. They're making a society that they think is a utopia, and we can argue that it is, but some would argue the opposite, because it's not the choice of these people, it's the decision by their government. And it is this fact, or this lack of choice, that really brings into question, would these people choose this life if they knew the alternative? John chooses his old life, but who else would? But in truth, it's really unfair to talk about choice when we are being offered it right now. We are just as conditioned as they are. Well, maybe not in the same ways. Someone does something for you, you say thank you. Please, you're welcome, opening the door for someone, carrying groceries in, putting things away right away so they don't melt. We are pretty conditioned to do things, and they might not always be in our best interests. We, as a people in society, are governed by the same what's right as the people of World State. The same what should I do, the same I should do this, the same this is where I go from here. Not to make everything sound so insidious, but that's the truth of who we are, of where we'll go. But when you think about it, some of our conditioning really isn't so good. Calling a woman a slut when she wears something more revealing, saying that pre-marriage sex is terrible. Little things, or big things. Calling homosexuality bad because that's what your parents told you, that's how your parents trained you. If you think about it, we could be a lot better as people, but I guess so could everyone. But that sort of gets me wondering, what don't we realize we've been conditioned to do? Where does their right and wrong end, and our personal right and wrong start? How different would we be? How different would our lives be if we just lived as us? I'm getting pretty existential, but that's mostly how I roll nowadays. So I guess my discussion questions sort of fall into the realms of, are you happy this way? What would you change? Where would you like to see society go? And most importantly, are you happy being a sheep? Or is there a brave new world you'd like to call home, waiting for you?